is how long I've been involved in a serious level with AIPAC. It's how long I've been schlepping at least once a year to DC to meet with elected officials and beg them to be tough on Iran. 18 years of going to conferences, of endless Zoom calls, of countless missions to Israel, of hearing great speakers, of being terrified by those speakers about what would happen if and when Israel had to go to war with Iran and Hezbollah and Hamas all at the same time. I was in the room when Bibi gave his famous "It's a nuclear duck" talk. 18 years of being scared that someday Iran would drop a nuclear bomb on the state of Israel. And then last night, in a flash, between dinner and dessert, it all came to a head. And maybe, as shocking as it was, maybe we're at the point where it's pretty tough to shock us anymore. But I couldn't believe what I was watching on TV unfold after all those meetings and all those Zoom calls and all that lobbying. What happened last night will change history forever. You know, October 7th, we learned something. October 7th for Iran was Plan A. Plan A was to surround Israel with a ring of fire, a ring of terror that would make it impossible for Israel to fight back on all borders at the same time. But it wasn't a matter of making Israel's life more difficult so that they would concede land and allow for a Palestinian state on the 67 borders. What we learned on October 7th was that for Tehran, it was never about the 67 borders or the territories or the settlers or a two-state solution. October 7th taught us that the Ring of Fire was a messianic, jihadist mentality set out not on finding a way to live side by side with the Israelis in a way that would make the Palestinians comfortable. It was a way of wiping Israel off of the map. It was about another Holocaust. And we caught a glimpse of it for one day on October 7th, what they would have done if they could have. Plan A fell apart. But Plan B was referred to by Ambassador Yechiel Leiter, the Israeli ambassador to Washington, when he said that the Israelis found concrete intelligence, proof that October 7th, Plan A, and the nuclear weapon system, Plan B, was not about gaining an upper hand. It was about killing Jews. Now, a lot of countries have nuclear weapons. You don't really think they're going to use them. Even crazy North Korea. But after October 7th, which was one attempted Holocaust, it became crystal clear that Iran was ready to use the bomb. This was, in our lifetime, their devising of a final solution. The only difference between the first final solution and the one that Iran has been trying to perpetrate for nearly 40 years The only difference is the IDF. It's amazing that our Torah portion this week, Behalotecha, talks about in chapter 10 of Numbers when you go out to war. And what it says is, when you go out to war, there's a specific type of trumpet and shofar that you're supposed to blow. And it's the same type of trumpet that's only for you Jews. Because other nations might have trumpets of war when they go out to battle. But the Torah specifically tells us that this trumpet that you use is the same one that you use on Rosh Hashanah. This is a uniquely Jewish instrument. And that's how you start your war. Because you're going out to war alone. Well, what happened to that generation? We'll learn in next week's Torah portion, Shalach Lecha, that when they went out to go and attack the land of Israel, they didn't blow the shofars, and in fact, they were afraid to go and fight the war. They were known as the generation of the spies. And because they refused to go to Israel and fight the war, God said, you Israelites are going to wander for 40 years, all of you are going to die, and the next generation, they'll be the ones who go in and fight for the land of Israel. But you the generation of the spies who don't blow the shofar, who don't have that unique Jewish essence of what it means to stand up for yourself, you are the generation that is prepared to live with and alongside of a nuclear Iran. Because you'd rather live side by side than face confrontation. Well, the next generation learned their lesson. They took that shofar, and after 40 years, when they entered into the land of Israel and they came to the city of Jericho, you may remember the story. You remember how they got the walls to come down? They blew the shofar, and the walls came tumbling down because they weren't afraid of confrontation and to do what it takes to live in their land. Now, those Jews who came to Israel for the first time with Joshua, they had no allies. In fact, nobody really liked them at all. But all they had was a shofar that carried their cries to the heavens and connected them directly to God. Since October 7th, this primarily has been a war that our people have had to fight on our own. And even though we have support from some countries, it doesn't seem like unconditional love. In fact, in a lot of those countries, including this one, it feels like a lot of people are not with us at all. In attacking Iran last night and today, it should have been every Western democracy on the planet lining up to take their shot at Iran. No one helped. I mean, America helped. They coordinated. But Israel did it on their own. Not really even getting any moral support. Even in this country, some of our politicians are saying, how could you do that? Countries should have been fighting to get in line for the opportunity to save the world from a messianic jihadist nuclear power. But sometimes that's the Jewish experience. That was the experience in 1981 when Israel destroyed the Osirak nuclear reactor in Iraq and the rest of the world sanctioned them, and the United States embargoed Israel for saving the world from keeping Saddam Hussein to have nuclear weapons. It was the case in 2005 when Israel again saved the world from allowing the butchers of Damascus, who just slaughtered 500,000 of their own people, preventing them from developing a nuclear weapon. And again, they did it on their own. And what were they really doing? They were destroying these weapons because the people who were creating those weapons openly said the purpose of these weapons is to destroy Israel and kill all of the Jews, to perpetrate another Holocaust. But at the same time, the perpetrators of the original Holocaust were critical of Israel for trying to prevent another Holocaust. There was a famous speech in 1981 when Menachem Begin, maybe you've seen it, it's a great speech in Hebrew. He was speaking to the German Chancellor, Helmut Schmidt, who really wanted Begin to create a Palestinian state. Begin was in shock. You know where he was from? Germany. Helmut Schmidt, Germany. He said, he said it right to his face. You who killed 1/3 of our people are telling me to put 3.5 million Jews in mortal danger? If you've ever followed the news, when a foreign diplomat shows up in Israel, you know where they always take them? Yad Vashem. They come to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial, and the diplomat from Austria or Denmark or Spain or Greece or wherever, they come and they have a little ceremony, and they offer wreaths, and they offer the sincere apologies of their nation for not protecting their Jews during the Holocaust. And some diplomat from Israel accepts the wreath, taps him on the back and says, it's okay. But you know, someday all this is going to end. Someday this war is going to end. Someday Iran will be defeated. And somewhere in Israel, they will build an October 7th museum. And foreign diplomats will come, and they'll bring their wreaths, and they'll apologize for being critical and for not helping Israel, while Iran's Ring of Fire attempted to perpetrate another Holocaust. And it's on those days, I hope, that Israeli leaders of strong character will turn to their colleagues and say, we reject your hollow apologies. They will say, on your watch, you allowed the Shoah to happen, and you were nearly ready to do it again. But on our watch, we did not. We protected ourselves. We defended ourselves. We sounded our own shofar. And when we say never again, we mean it. In the past, we accepted your apologies. But those days are over. Now the world is once again on notice that the state of Israel and the Jewish people are prepared to march together like the legions of Joshua into the city of Jericho. And because of the accomplishments of our grandparents and our great-grandparents and all those who helped to build up the state of Israel and found the IDF, because there exists a state of Israel and an army that is able to protect it, we can say to those who have not supported us over this past year and a half, to those who are criticizing us now, while our brothers and sisters seek to stave off an existential threat to their existence, we can say that because of the state of Israel and because of the IDF, we do not rely on you. We won't wait for you. We won't be unprepared. And when our existence, the existence of our people and the future of the state of Israel is on the line, forgive us, but we don't care what you think. Rather, we gaze upwards, and we are uplifted by the words of our sacred scriptures. Hen am kalavi yakum, uchari yitnaseh. Lo, a people rise like a lioness, leaps up like a lion. And where our God says, that is where we will go. Can you hear that song? May it be God's will. Amen.